So a lot of times when you're wanting to make a project come to life, first you start with an ideal, as you have for this example. Then you try to figure out, okay, does it, maybe you do product market fit, maybe you see like, does it make sense? Is it practical? You kind of do some research around that. And then if you decide that it's practical, or if you decide it's not practical, or, it's the technology doesn't exist, I don't have enough resources, whatever it is, then you try to pivot and say, okay, like, well, how can I make this? What is the next level? Like, what is there something else that would make sense around this? And then, get all this stuff out of the way. Eventually, if you come up with an ideal that is practical, that can work, that is a good ideal, that has all this stuff, then you start researching like, okay, what kind of frameworks do I need? What kind of language do I write it in? What kind of services do I need to build around it or use? Does it need to be cloud native? Is it a web app? Is it a command line app? Is it, does it live, in Web3? Does it live in the blockchain? All this type of stuff. Do I need a smart contract? And then I need a dApp. There's two different parts to it. And then you try to figure out, okay, what technology am I going to use? Do I need to hire devs? Am I going to code it myself? How quickly can I learn? What resources do I need to do that? And then, you do the beta, alpha, like you run some tests, you get some feedback from people. That's really helpful as well. And then eventually, you get to a product. So that's like a 2-minute summary of like how it goes from ideal to paper to code. Yeah. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I think it depends on, because like with the blockchain, the biggest risk you have is, okay, code, because it's immutable. But then also legality is like the biggest risk you have in crypto, because imagine launching a token and then the rules change 5 years from now, and now you have this token linked to your name essentially into infinity. So let's say you're worth like a couple 100 million or whatever, like maybe 10-20 years from now, you're worth a couple 100 million plus. You're living your life, you're living your dream life, everything is fine, but then you have this token up your ass forever, and maybe the IRS after you, or the SEC, and there's some company formation you could do in multiple jurisdictions. But it's just like this idea that it's immutable. I think a token is a massive commitment. One of the benefits you have about the blockchain is that when it comes to computation and processing, the blockchain is just a database. So coding on the blockchain is actually a lot easier than coding an actual web application, a mobile app, whatever it might be, because most of the computation and most of like the actual like stuff that already happens on the blockchain. Basically, all you have to design is mathematics and fail safes and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just legalities.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest fear when it comes to starting a project in crypto.